Frank Sawit is a thief who kills Cindy Stone when she came in. The Thinker statue is actually a clock that has hours ahead. Red White is blackmailing authority and killed Mia when she is getting too close to solving it. Phoenix takes him down with a receipt that proves he was in the apartment, and Mia is channeled by Maya. Jack Hammer was in the Steel Samurai suit and attempted to kill Dee Vasquez, who is blackmailing him, but backfires when he falls onto the fence that stabs him the same way that he killed a man 5 years ago. The shopkeeper is Yanni Yogi, who wants revenge on Edgeworth for ruining his life after DL6. He kills Hammond and impersonates him to frame Edgeworth on the boat. But the bullet fired by Edgeworth went through the elevator and shot Manfred von Karma. Von Karma came in and shot Gregory Edgeworth when he then took his vacation to heal his wounds. Dark nor Emma ended up killing Neil Marshall. Instead, Gant came in, who framed it to make it look like Emma did it so he could blackmail Lana, but Bruce Goodman was getting too close to figuring out SL9, so Gant kills him and asks Lana to dispose of the body. However, Angel Star and Jake Marshall screw up his entire plan. Wellington's phone has some black market numbers on it, so when he sees Dustin Prince, he assumes that he knows about it. So he ends up trying to steal the phone from Phoenix and ends up stealing Phoenix's phone in the defendant's lobby. Innie Minnie is actually Mimi Minnie. The woman who died in the car crash was Innie, and Mimi changed her identity to her sister. Morgan Fay wants to be the current master, so she works with Mimi to frame Maya and kill Gray. Acro wants to kill Regina after an incident involving Acro's brother Bat being bitten by a lion. Russell Berry knew about this and ended up getting killed instead of Regina, and the entire framing of Max flying was purely coincidental. Celeste Impacts committed suicide because of Matt Ungard, not Juan Carita. Adrian and Juan agreed to prove Matt's guilt, but Matt hired Shelly to kill her to kill Juan Carita. But after Phoenix proves that Matt was trying to blackmail Shelly, and Shelly says he wants to kill Matt. Matt begs for a guilty verdict, and Maya is set free. Dahlia hid the poison inside the glass bottle and pretends to be in love with Phoenix just so she can get rid of the evidence, but Doug attempts to tell Phoenix about how Dahlia wants to kill Phoenix for the glass bottle. This forces Dahlia to kill Doug. It turns out that Luke Atme was Master Mask, but it turns out Luke Atme wasn't Master Mask, but used it as an alibi for killing Kane Bullard and framing it on Ron. Elk had a gambling habit, and he had to pay Furio Tigre with the black market virus. However, after he won the lottery, Tigre knew he wouldn't give him the virus, so he kills Elk, recreates the scene for Kudo, and defends Maggie to get her guilty as Zinnia Inhop. Dahlia actually survived jumping off the bridge when Valerie shot Terry and got all the money from the diamond, but Valerie was getting too close to calling Dahlia out, so Dahlia kills her. Terry is the only person that can prove this, but Terry swallows the poison in the glass and dies. Elise Denoxnim is Misty Faye, Maya's mother, and possesses Dahlia Hawthorne so Pearl cannot. However, Dahlia almost succeeds in her plan of killing Maya, so Godot, who is actually Diego Armando, has to kill Misty. Apollo's mentor Christoph Gavin killed Shady Smith for unknown reasons, and the decisive piece of evidence was forged. Walkie had a bullet inside of him, and the victim was responsible for fixing it, but the operation was unsuccessful. Alita proposed to Walkie to gain his inheritance after he died from the wound. Aida is forced to kill the doctor when Walkie's father finds out about the bullet still inside him. Daryl was smuggling Bulgarian cocoons, and the band was unknowingly helping him. Litaus was to investigate this case, so Daryl is forced to kill him, and the murder lining up to the song is purely coincidental. McAfee committed suicide, and Christoph Gavin hired Drew Masham to forge evidence because Zack did not hire Gavin. Phoenix loses his badge, and Zack escapes and becomes Shady Smith. Christoph is responsible for killing Drew and almost killing Vera, but there is no evidence to convict him. However, since the trial is a jury trial, Christoph is found guilty, and it turns out Lumiere is actually Apollo's mother. Jacques broke into the office to gather information about the KG-8 incident, but Buddy found out about it, so Jacques kills him. However, the person who broke into the office at Edgeworth was not Jacques, but it was Detective Bad. Kami Miele is part of a smuggling ring that Hicks was investigating, so to protect the statue that was being smuggled, she kills Hicks. Lance is involved in the kidnapping of himself so he could receive ransom money to pay off a debt. However, things turn sour, and Lance kills his butler, Deacon, who happens to be his girlfriend's father. Manny Cochin kills CCU and is found not guilty. Stilla reveals herself to be the Yatagarasu and kills Byrne Faraday because he would reveal her identity, and Mac is a witness. She pulls a gun in court and escapes, but Shilon Lang's assistant, Sheena, is Castillo Yu, and the Yatagarasu is actually Castillo, Byrne, and Detective Bad. Alba is the leader of the smuggling ring and is responsible for the deaths of Master Mask 2, Manny Cochin, and the fire at the embassy, and he has like 4 smuggling routes in the embassy. It's like ridiculous. Horace Knightley killed Rook to gain power in the business, but it's unknown who hired Shelley to kill her to shoot the president. Patricia Rowland killed Horace Knightley because she was scared that Sirhan Dogan hired an assassin. With the help of Frank Sawit, she moves the body to the courtyard where it is moved by everyone else to the storage room. Jeff Masters is found guilty of being an accomplice to the murder, even though no body was found, but Dane Gustave was the real killer. But Catherine Hall found the dead body of Isaac Dover in the frozen sherbet, so she held the exhibit and laid a trap because only the murderer would know about Dover's body. Dane Gustave is arrested, only barely, and Edgeworth solves his father's final case. Blaze the Best was the black market dealer, and Jill Crane was investigating the case. It also turns out that Courtney was only helping Sebastian so she could get closer to Blaze. President Di Huang Huang was visiting his son John Marsh, but was not kidnapped. He was killed, and his body double took over his identity for years, with Blaze and Patricia Rowland playing a part in the scandal. But Simon Key is the real villain of the entire game. His father is Dane Gustave, and he is taken under the wing of Sirhan Dogan. He was also at the orphanage, which is why he has great disdain towards the other 3 villains. He instigates the murder of Case 2 and 3 and kills the body double by crushing him with a hot air balloon. Ted Tonay killed the detective and detonated the bomb to make it look like she was killed in the explosion. The words that said Wood is actually a modified version of Ted Tonay's serial number. The Forbidden Chamber actually contains a golden ingot that LaBelle attempts to steal because he cannot afford his beauty line project. Also, Mayor Tenma is the Nine-Tailed Fox. Aristotle means kills Court and hid her body under a cloth that made her look like the Phoenix Wright statue. The launch pod and the museum were actually switched, making it possible for a killer to make it in. Starbuck is found not guilty, but Athena is arrested because her prints are on the lighter. But the killer of Mateus Sites was not Blackquill or Athena. It was a person known as the Phantom, a person with zero emotion who was trying to steal the moon rock from the Space Center. But Bobby Fulbright is actually the Phantom who killed Clay Turan because he would find out more about the Moonstone. He'd forgotten what his true identity is by switching between so many personalities, and he is shot by an assassin. Marlon tried to kill Orla by suffocating her to get revenge on his girlfriend, Zuka Summers. Jack Shipley found out what happened, but slipped and died falling down the empty pool, begging for Marlon to forgive Orla. Elodie admits that she hid the jewels inside the plushies from the big jewel heist that was only a few days ago. Miss Kira is a witch and she is dropped into the fire. Jean is the witch who strangled Newton because he was going to reveal her identity. However, Newton poisoned himself and wrote it a suicide letter. Jean is supposed to get burned, but Aspella says that she is the Great Witch and jumps inside the cage instead. Maya saves Aspella, but is dropped into the fire. All of Labyrinthia was a government experiment that's set up by the storyteller. All the death, spells, and story was planned out by him to please Aspella after she was scared by the Great Fire, but Aspella was not the girl who rung the silver bell. It was actually Darklaw, aka Eve, who rang the bell that caused the Great Fire.